Are you wondering about the differences between vinyl versus digital DJing? Then that's something I'm going to have a quick chat about today in this video. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the channel, Beat Match Guru here. So today we're going to be talking about vinyl versus digital DJing. And that's something in my lifetime where I've experienced the difference between DJing with vinyl through to DVS DJing, which is digital vinyl setup connected to a laptop, and you've still got the functionality using digital time-coded vinyls, and that converts through a little box that plugs to the laptop, and then all the way through to DJing with CDJs and now with DJ controllers. Okay, so starting with vinyl. So vinyl is really good for beat matching. So what I find these days is that it can become a bit like easy and lazy to DJ with CDJs or a DJ controller, because you can look at the beat and you can just align the two waves, the beat, like the kick drum of two tracks moving along, and that's easy because you've got that visual cue. That's really easy to do. And also you've got buttons on CDJs and DJ controllers that say just like sync button. And really what I want to stress is that when I've learned from the beginning with vinyls, it's all to do with what you're listening to, 100%. No get out clause at all. So my advice to you as a DJ, if you're a beginner or just getting to that point where you're like, yes, I'm absolutely smashing a mix, focus on DJing and beat matching just purely by ear. No cheating. Like, cover up the digital display and challenge yourself, because I found myself becoming quite towards the opposite way and just using the screen quite a lot, and then I've gone back to like DJing with vinyl, and I'm using my brain a lot more to then go back to that old way of thinking. So top tip, get involved with beat matching by ear purely, no visual aids or pressing the buttons with the sync. Let's face it, vinyl is expensive, right? I think it's about £5–6 a vinyl. My music collection was limited back in the day, right? So now you can buy tracks for like £1, £1.50, whatever. So places like Tracksource, even Amazon randomly bought tracks off recently for about £1. And yeah, you can just get so many more tracks. So vinyl is probably not in favour of that. DVS maybe, because you can still buy tracks digitally, but then you've still offset with the cost of DVS setup as well. It's quite expensive to buy like needles, a separate mixer and a separate turntable. So there's another thing to consider in this versus argument, okay? And yes, I've just mentioned about DVS, but a few more bits on DVS is that the setup of the equipment's complicated in comparison to CDJs and actually not CDJs, DJ controllers. DJ controllers are so easy, just all in one. Whereas if you've got a DVS, you've got the normal vinyl setup with the DVS stuff on top of that. And say if you're like an aspiring DJ and you're going to a clubs, like I've seen DJ Marky set up, and it looks like an absolute ball ache to try and get set up with all the cables and stuff. And yeah, so CDJs even look easier than DVS. Yeah, point being is that it's complicated and it probably does cost a lot more to buy all that stuff. And going with a DJ controller, if you're a beginner or intermediate, that's probably going to be the super easiest setup that you can go for. Okay, let's go along the digital vibes now, okay? So the equipment is so much cheaper. You can pick up a DDJ 200 from Pioneer for about 150 quid, maybe £200, maybe cheaper if you get them in the sale. And like that, you'd struggle to get a mixer alone if you just had like a vinyl setup. And that's what I struggled with, is saving up for the vinyl and the individual mixers, like when I was much younger. So nowadays, what I'm saying is you guys out there, if you want to DJ, man, you could get the equipment pretty cheap and pretty swiftly. And I bet you bottom dollar, some people get DJ controllers for Christmas, just try out DJing. might not even like it. So go on places like Gumtree and like second-hand used websites, and I'm pretty sure you could pick up a bargain. Yeah, and on the flip side, right, if you are learning to DJ, then it is sometimes good to see the beats to learn and understand what the hell beat matching actually is. But like I was saying with the first point, make sure you beat match by ear primarily as your like 80% foundational skill. The 20% should be the extra, looking at the BPMs on the DJ controller or the digital display, and using that as an extra guidance. But always beat match by ear, because say if something went wrong with your beat grids and they're out of sync on a live performance and you're shitting yourself, then beat matching by ear is like going to put you in good stead. No worries. I think I've said this point before earlier in the video, but separate equipment, I've just done with it now. And the all-in-one DJ controllers is I think it's going to be the next step for a lot of DJs. I've seen some drum and bass DJs on their own YouTube channels, and they've got an all-in-one controller, and I think that's going to be the new normal in the future. But correct me if I'm wrong, put some comments in below. I'll be interested to see what you guys think about that. My biggest thing with digital DJing with a controller or a CDJs, just purely the music organisation. So I use Rekordbox, and before that I used Serato, so I've got a bit of experience with both, and I'm sure using other software is going to be a good experience too in this realm. Categorising your music by folder, by tempo, by subgenre, moving it into the intelligent playlist as well. So you put in brackets of like BPM, for example, so like 120 to 128, and then when you start adding your music to your collection, it will just filter that out. It's like a filter, intelligent playlist, but that will help you get all of your music in a good place, and then you can just start DJing straight away. Whereas with vinyl, like it's a bit of a different picture, because you're physically picking up the vinyls and playing them. Not as it's a bad thing, because I absolutely love DJing with vinyl, and for some reason my memory is really good at looking at the artwork on the vinyl, and I know exactly which A or B side to play. But we're in a day and age now where it's digital, and I think that's really good to explain the differences between the two. So the record vinyls and your music collection versus like super ultra organised with your Rekordbox or Serato, for example. Make sure you organise everything. And another tip along that line actually is make sure you don't buy too much music digitally, because it can be a shit show with trying to organise all your music. Less is more in a digital world, I believe. So yeah, that's the way forward. Look guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. It's a bit of a spitball versus vinyl versus digital, but you can check out beatmatchguru.com. I've been writing a lot of tips and DJ guides and how-to guides, etc. on there, so check that out. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll see you next time.